Hi guys, hi Mr. Douglas, we are team number 4 and we are going to talk about a little bit the teaching cycle. So as we made our homework, as we were working in all that process, as we are going to be teachers in the future, so we are starting with that process and I think that that's amazing. So we started learning something new about the teaching cycle, something that I think we didn't know about that, and it was interesting. We were working in something that I think it will help in the future. It is going to be something that will help every teacher that is taking this class and taking this program in all these terms. Okay. So I think that first of all, as we started identifying needs, I think that it was something interesting because some teachers sometimes they don't know how to identify some needs, or they just want to teach something that they believe that is correct or that is going to help to the students. So sometimes it is wrong. It is wrong. I think that we need to develop and to improve those skills in this case, and this is a good way to start doing it. So I don't know if someone else has an opinion.
Yes, I actually have an opinion, and that it is very important to have a structured idea of what you should do in the classroom, because although it might change depending on the group and depending on the environment that you have, it is important to have a certain plan to know exactly, us as a teacher, what you do and what to expect. Even though you have to know what type of knowledge they have, what type of level they have, you have to know your students. It is also important to have a certain idea of what you should do as a teacher in order to know where to park us. So it is important to have a plan, although you have to know your students as well.
Yes, as Valeria was saying, and also our teacher said in the last class, the last meeting, that it is not just about to stand in front of the students and say the first thing that it comes to your mind, but you have to have a plan. That's why we're doing this activity that is very helpful, because we are learning about each stage of the teaching cycle that I'm pretty sure that you already, or you got to the conclusion that every stage is related to to each of the other ones, because you cannot prepare a plan of the class without identifying the needs in the first place, and you cannot uh, teach the class without preparing it. And I found that very interesting. That's how the cycle works in general.
Something that I realized while I was doing the homework, it was that in every single stage, we all have responsibilities, boundaries, and in every single stage, we have expectations. Even before that we try to start a class that we are planning, we already have the vision when we are with our students in the classroom and how we are going to deliver and how do we think that they are going to perceive our classes. And that's why I think it's important before starting the class, knowing our students how and what different type of learning styles we are going to use with them, especially if you have a specific group, for example, whether if it's elementary or high school, you have to be really, really careful how we are going to teach with them, because when it comes to kids, it can tend to be a little bit specific in the way that you are going to teach every single one of them, because we cannot be, let's say that we have 20 students. Every single one is going to need a different way to learn. So it's important for us to start knowing our students and how we are going to teach them, not just having one plan, not just having one specific teaching style, and not being not having the class centered in us. We have to study our students and knowing what is the best for them. And once we have practice, when we have done examples with them, we have to see if they are comfortable enough with the topic and how they feel about it.
I want to question you guys. During the planning and designing stage, I read and saw this video that Mr. Douglas put in the campus. It was from Anne Gravels. And in that video, she said that in the plan and designing stage, to get to know your students, some teachers do the things about the group profiles. I don't know if you saw that or if you have heard about that. You haven't.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, for the ones who don't know, the group profiles are some documents that some teachers do to, that it has important information of each student. It has, their complete names, the level of English they are in, and some other important aspects. If the behavioral patterns that the students can have in the class or something like that. But the thing is that this thing or this document caught my attention because not every teacher do that, and I think especially with kids in elementary grade, I think that we all teachers have to do this, because with that group profiles, you can know in what level your student are, what necessity does the student has. If you have a student with a learning disability, I don't know what you think about this, if you think it's a great idea to do it. If not, I think it's great. I will totally do that.
Yes, it sounds great because it can help us during the teaching cycle stage, right? In the first plans to understand better our students. I think it's a great idea.
I
Yeah,
totally agree with you, Heather. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
But
sorry, go on.
it is very important not only to know your students as a whole group, but also know the necessities and needs and problems that your group has in order to fulfill them. So, for example, if you know that most of your students are visual learners, but you have like 5 or 6 students that learn by doing things or kinesthetically, it is important to adapt those activities that you have for your class for those who have that different learning style. Or if, for example, if you identify a certain learning disability, it is important to not only do activities for the majority, but also try to accomplish that those minority or the minority that you have to engage in those activities and learn the topic that you're trying to give in. So I think it is very important to try, because it is not always possible, but try to engage all of the students that you have in the certain topic that you're talking to, in order for them to learn the topic that you're teaching, and for them to have successful learning experience.
Talking about
Yeah,
planning
I
and design.
actually agree with you.
Sorry. I think that this is
Well,
one of the most difficult stages for me.
Okay. First, we are going to listen to Ala, then we are going to listen to
Okay.
Genesis. Sorry, Genesis.
Okay. I was telling about the planning and designing stage. For me, is one of the most difficult because in this stage we had to plan the time that the lesson is going to last. So I think that it's difficult to know how much time you are going to take to teach the class. So a good a good idea is to practice the class when we are planning it. In this stage, also, it is important to take into account the activities that we will develop during the class. Um, and also, I was reading about assessing the students in order to know the learning styles they have, because this is very important. We know that not all the students learn in the same way, so this is something that we really have to keep in mind at the time of giving a class. So now Hannah.
Well, I was going to say, I agree with you. I believe identifying needs is the most important stage of the teaching cycle, because it is going to help us in the other stages. Identifying needs would help us to make the correct activities or to use the strategies, or making the at the moment of making the activity for our students. We need to know what are their needs. Also, the learning style the students have. It is important to take that into consideration at the time of performing the class, and for our students to understand better the topic. Yeah. Also, planning is also important. I want to say this. Planning is important. I believe it is also one of the most essential parts of teaching. We need to know what we are going to do in front of our students, and to detail every single activity, and yeah.
Okay,
that was.
Okay, thank you guys. So I want to take some points that you said in all the conversations. So first of all, as Valeria was saying, it's something important to know is our students. Remember that we are teachers, we are going to be professionals, and we are professionals now. But remember that something important in the classroom, 50 is you as teacher, 50 is are the students. Why? Because as you need to know them, they need to know you. Okay, remember that a student is going to be like a shape that is going to be with you, and you're going to be like the example. You're going to be the best for them, or maybe they can be the best for you. So it's something that we need to change and to handle. As Heather was saying, we have a group profile that we need to know, because we as teachers, we don't need, or we don't have to choose like, yes, I want these students, and this student I don't want you because you have disabilities or something like that. We cannot do that. Okay, remember that we as teachers, we cannot handle all the world. Our job is just to teach and to help. We are supporters, and in this case, we need to support our students. Okay, something that I like and I always say is that you cannot change your students. Your students are something, well, they are normal. They have their own capacities, their own abilities, something that you cannot change. Something important is to take advantage of those points that they have. You don't know if some students have the ability to recap everything in an easy way, or other ones have to take more time to processing all the information. But remember that in every stage that we are doing, it's something like a mini job and like a mini practice that we are doing in this case. So with that process of the teaching cycle that we were doing in our homework, is something that is going to help, as I was saying at the beginning. Okay, we are teachers, and it's something beautiful, but challenging at the same time. Okay, the challenge is always to be there. Yes, just give me a minute. It's something that is going to be there, but that doesn't mean that we are going to change our students, or our students are going to change us. Okay, Heather?
I think that, I don't know if anybody else here is a teacher or just you.
I don't know.
Well, I guess.
Valeria.
Well, for the two of yes, it's true. For the two of you, my following question is that for you, which of these steps is the most difficult? Because I know you are teachers, and I think you have identified or you do all these steps. So, which for you guys, which one of these steps is the most difficult?
Okay, Valeria, go ahead. You first. First, the ladies.
Thank you very much. For example, for me, I have two stages that are really difficult. One is assessing students, because that means when I assess students, that means that I have to evaluate my work in order to know how much they understood and how much they learned in the process that I was trying to do. And the other one is the feedback, because although we all have the confidence that we're doing our job as best or as best as we can, it is always important to know what the opinion of the classmates or the classroom in general was. So it is really important to know what the class thought about the topic you were giving or about the way you were giving the class. So it is also very difficult, but very fulfilling to know what the feedback of your students was. So I think that's the most difficult for me, because although you hear the feedback of your students, you also have to adapt to the group that you have in the moment. So it is really difficult, because you cannot always adapt the feedback the classroom gave you to the new group that you're having. So that's the most difficult part for me.
Okay, and rapidly, we have just 1 minute. Okay, for me is at the beginning of your first class is identifying needs. Remember that you don't know your students in the first day of classes. You are trying to identify why they need or something like that, if they are serious, if they are funny. And the second for me is planning, because remember that we need to think if that is something good for you, that is something good for the another one, for the another one. You don't know how the another one is going to respond. So it's something difficult in that part. But as in assessing, I like it because I give them the opportunity to be the teachers in that case, to give their own feedbacks, what they want to add to the class, what they want to remove or something like that. And there's something positive because okay, so they take the responsibility of being the teachers in that moment. They have fun giving feedback. They are in front of the class, trying to be the teacher, trying to know if it's something difficult, challenging, or it's something easy. So in that way, they give feedback, and I take it in a good way. So I received a good feedback. So it's something important to improve. That is my answer. So I think that everyone here learned something new about this homework. We learned important things that maybe we didn't know in the past, but we are going to apply it in our future as teachers. It's something. Valeria is a teacher now. I'm a teacher now, and you guys, it's something beautiful, something nice and important. But if you can enjoy it, pues go ahead. So there's nothing else to say. So this was everything for us today, and I hope you can enjoy and perceive our video, okay? Okay, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so see you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye bye.